Reading and reviewing indie books has become a passion of mine over many years and has helped me get through the many challenges that life can present. To me, there is nothing better than the escapism, the immersion, and even the magic that reading can be. As an indie author myself, I know the challenges and difficulties of finding book reviews, and so just like my dedication to writing, here I am doing my best to support words by fellow authors. Welcome to Talking Indie Books with Lee Hall, an opportunity for me to showcase some wonderful indie books I've been reading. For this special episode, which is in celebration of Indie April, I will be showcasing some wonderful indie books I've read and enjoyed over the years, and of course, a recent indie book review. These titles in particular have been memorable for me, so let us dive into a special Indie April episode of Talking Indie Books. The first book I'd like to mention is one that I reviewed all the way back in 2019, when I was at the start of my road to reviewing indie books. Like many of the titles and wonderful fellow authors I discover, this was a title I found through Twitter, and I'm talking about Nightjar by visionary indie author Paul Jameson. I say visionary because Nightjar really is that and much more. Paul Jameson has put together a fantasy folklore style story that feels like a classic with some incredible use of language and description. When I was first reading this book, I really couldn't put it down, and I vividly remember it being a cold February morning as I sat with a freshly brewed cup of coffee and being immersed in this world known as a feudal future. Books have that power, and this one came with fond reading memories for me. And as quoted from my written review, set in a feudal future where not many will stray from home because of superstition, or perhaps because their clan elders say so, two boys, Cord and Tuppence, do just that, and embark on a journey of adventure. Early in their travels, they meet a figure of mystery known as Nightjar. This somewhat magical character goes by many different descriptions, but just who he really is will keep readers turning pages. My rating for Nightjar was 5 stars, and my full written review is linked below. The next book I'd like to mention is written by a true supporter of fellow indies, and even a beacon of light in the somewhat challenging world of social media. Of course, I'm talking about Rebecca Crunden, who has an excellent array of books available, and that includes futuristic sci-fi, Dust and Lightning. This author is also behind the awesome Indie Book Spotlight account that can be found across various social platforms and represents the writing community in the best possible way. Having discovered this book on Twitter, and after grabbing a digital copy when it was free, I was more than happy to leave a review, and the world created within Dust and Lightning was truly memorable. From pollution to politics, and even an economical divide between rich and poor, there are a lot of echoes within this story to our own world, which grounds the fiction in an element of believability. And as quoted from my review, pages turn quickly in this action and drama-packed chase-find story, without chapter breaks, hence I read it in just a couple of sittings. The world building is on point, and the wider universe is something with a lot of potential, especially as the ending brings promise of that. My rating for Dust and Lightning was 5 stars, and my full written review is linked below. And so, the final book I would like to mention is one of my most recent reviews, and is in the genre of techno-thriller. Of course, I'm talking about Bazaar by Miles Joyner, and this book came to my attention because Miles reached out to my Hall of Information blog recently to share an exclusive excerpt. This was something I was more than happy to do, and in return, Miles sent me a full advanced digital copy of the book. Bazaar is set in a world where a kind of sweepstakes site on the dark web is literally playing with lives of prominent figures as it gives out odds on assassinations of those figures. This premise carries a story with depth and intrigue, which was one I very much enjoyed. It follows multiple characters on all sides of this interesting concept, and to quote my recent review, lives are literally open to the highest bidder, and cryptocurrency is the primary form of payment. This scenario opens up the shadowy world of contract killing to the Havago types who are organized and use modern tech to communicate with others, while even using that tech to create their own weaponry. There are also those who work in executive-level security that are fighting to protect the names listed, and Miles Joyner succeeds in delivering this thrilling, imaginative story involving all sides. And of course, my favourite quote from this book was, "The Bazaar. It's a paradigm shift in human interaction, with control over the society we're forced to live in, crowdsourcing every little dime from whoever wishes to shake up the status quo." And so my rating for Bazaar was 5 stars, and my full written review is linked below. And so that wraps up this special Indie April edition of Talking Indie Books with Lee Hall. I am proud to announce that this was just part 1, as there will be another Indie April special coming very soon, so stay tuned. I'd like to thank you for joining me on this journey, and of course, if you're reading something right now, remember to leave a review. Peace out, rock and roll, and reading indie books.